Update on the Improving Corporate Governance Through Diversity Act of 2021. Welcome Roel Campos, LCDA Board Chair, former SEC Commissioner, and currently serving on the board of KPMG US and Regional Management Corp., in conversation with U.S. Senator Robert Menendez.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to everyone who's joining us today from LCDA members and supporters and friends. I'm extremely excited today. We are very fortunate in having one of the giants, true giants, of government and Congress with us to share his thoughts. And that, of course, is Senator Bob Menendez from the great state of New Jersey. First, let me provide on behalf of LCDA and me personally a deep thanks to the senator for taking time from his extremely crowded schedule to be with LCDA today. I had the job of providing a short introduction to someone who needs no introduction. Let me see if I can do it justice in an abbreviated fashion. Senator Menendez is well known and widely respected for his acumen, his deep knowledge of foreign affairs and financial and securities regulation. His personal story has been an inspiration to all of us. Senator Menendez, to his credit, has never forgotten his Cuban American heritage and has been a champion for the Latino community throughout his career. I personally benefited many years ago in 2002 from the senator's generosity. When I was first recommended to be the first American Latino commissioner for the Securities and Exchange Commission, he took me over. You know, he knew I was a total novice to Washington. And he took me aside and said, Roel, you got this, and provided helpful suggestions and boosted my confidence. That certainly helped lead to my being approved by the Senate Banking Committee and ultimately being confirmed by the Senate. However, Senator Menendez didn't stop with me. After I served 5 years and decided to move on, he was instrumental in having a second American Latino appointed as commissioner to the SEC, my good friend and yours, Luis Aguilar. So let me give you a few items just to make sure that you're aware of the amazing and significant responsibilities that the senator has been given by his colleagues. Senator Menendez, of course, was elected to the Senate in 2006 after serving 7 terms in the House of Representatives. Today, he is chairman of the prestigious Senate Foreign Relations Committee. And he also serves as a senior member of the Senate Banking Committee and is chair of the Securities Subcommittee, a subcommittee that's near and dear to my heart in terms of my area of practice. And he's also a senior member, not done yet, with the Finance Committee. So as I indicated earlier, Bob Menendez has been a champion for the Latino community. He's fought forever for better opportunities and for health care. Furthermore, over 10 years ago, Senator Menendez began a scorecard system for the largest companies in America as to their diversity and specifically for LCDA on whether Latinos were being placed on boards of these large American companies and whether there were sufficient Latinos in the executive suite. So clearly, he was a pioneer, and the methods that he pioneered are used today by LCDA. He was never afraid to challenge corporate America to do better. So, Senator, again, thank you for being here. You're an inspiration to all of us. I know you have some remarks that you've prepared for our benefit, and I'd like to give you the stage now to do so. Senator?
Well, thank you, Roel, very much for that very gracious introduction. And thank you, more importantly, for your service to our country on the Securities and Exchange Commission. It was a critical time on the Commission's agenda. I'm always pleased to be in your company. I'm honored to speak with the Latino Corporate Directors Association today. I'm impressed by this organization, its membership, its commitment to paying it forward. As you well know, Latinos and other minorities have long encountered obstacles on their way up the corporate ladder. One of which is breaking into the old professional networking circles of the past. I'm sure there have been times that you have felt like outsiders trying to make your way in a world built up for insiders. So I want to commend the Latino Corporate Directors Association for building a powerful network of your own. I was impressed to learn that since 2016, LCDA's membership has grown from 46 to nearly 400 corporate director level professionals today. That's what we call power in numbers. And I want to congratulate the founding members of LCDA on all that you've achieved in such a short time. I understand that several of your founding members are retiring from the board this year, and I want to congratulate Kim Casiano, Tom Castro, Judge Nelson Diaz, Jose Prado, Alza Panta on a job well done, and of course, Roel Campos for his successful tenure as board chair. And from what I've heard, your incoming chair elect, Elizabeth Oliver Farrow, is more than ready to take the lead. As many of you know, I've devoted my life to a very different field, the field of public service and policymaking. When I first was elected to Congress in 1992, few Latinos held federal office. And not so long ago, I was the lone Latino in the United States Senate. We've made great progress over the years. Today, we have six Latino senators, the diverse Congress in history. We should be proud to see so many Latinos serving in President Biden's cabinet, from Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona to Secretary of Health and Human Services Javier Becerra to Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas and to Administrator Isabel Guzman at the Small Business Administration. So clearly, we're making strides when it comes to diversifying government. However, for many years, I've wondered why corporate America has yet to reflect the diversity of the nation. About a decade ago, as Roel mentioned, I dedicated my staff to begin conducting periodic surveys of the top American companies about their diversity issues, the Fortune 100 companies. And our findings reflect what so many of you already know. Taking a peek inside of America's executive suites, and you will see that it is overwhelmingly male and overwhelmingly pale. What will it take to build an inclusive economy where those at the top look more like those in the middle and on the bottom? Like many of you, I am the son of immigrants, political refugees who left Cuba in search of a better life. And when they arrived in America, they had no jobs, no connections, no housing, not cent in their pocket. And yet somehow this extraordinary country made it possible for their son to go from being poor in a tenement in Union City, New Jersey, to being one of 100 United States senators in a country of 320 million people. That is the American dream. It's an idea that anyone can make it in America, which is core to our national identity. Yet, recent studies suggest that economic mobility in the United States has fallen behind. Today, children from low income families, and especially children of color, are less likely to make it into the middle class or beyond. Meanwhile, women and minorities still earn less than their white male counterparts. We pride ourselves on a country that rewards work opportunity to all. So the question is, how do we live up to those ideals? Certainly, we need government policies that combat poverty, protect against discrimination, promote equity, and in support of upward mobility. But the private sector has a role to play, not just a role, but an interest. Study after study tells us that companies with greater diversity on their executive teams achieve greater profitability. In other words, diversifying your team is not just an act of benevolence, it is the smart thing to do for your bottom line. In the United States, has never been more diverse than it is today. At 60 million strong, Latinos are the nation's largest and fastest growing minority. Likewise, more than half of American minors identify as a racial or ethnic minority. These are the consumers of the future. And companies that diversify their ranks today will be well positioned to win their business tomorrow. The second trend is the way innovation has transformed our economy. Today's greatest opportunities lie in sectors that often lack adequate minority representation, like technology, professional services, scientific research, and other fields. How can our economy as a nation sustain itself if our nation's fastest growing population is locked out of the fastest growing opportunities? As I mentioned a few minutes ago, my office has now completed several surveys of top American companies regarding diversity on their boards and senior executive teams. As a result, we see that those results mirror a growing body of research revealing that Latinos remain the most underrepresented minority in corporate America. Sure, we've seen some bright spots. For instance, between my 2014 and 2017 surveys, more companies reported having more than one woman on the executive team. And yet, there's not a single Fortune 100 respondent who reported having more than two women of color on their boards. Our research also laid bare the disparities for Latinos. In 2017, Hispanics represented just 4.9% of all board members among the Fortune 100 sample. And there were zero Latinas serving on 84% of the boards of the companies we surveyed. Zero. Over the years, I've also closely followed the LCDA's Latino board monitor, and I had a chance to look at your 2021 data. It's incredibly disappointing to see that 47% of the Fortune 100 companies still lack a Latino member of their board. And in looking at your 2020 report, the same goes for nearly 70% of Fortune 100 companies. Let me say that again. Nearly 700 companies on the Fortune 1000 do not have a single Latino on their board. That's unacceptable. And it's time for corporate America to admit it has a diversity problem, and corporate America has a responsibility to fix it. During my survey of the Fortune 100, each of our respondents pointed to diversity as a core value. Yet 93% said they considered diversity factored into their executive searches. So, how do we account for the disconnect between companies' aspirations and behaviors? One reason is that many firms aren't tracking their progress or setting numeric targets for the recruitment of diverse candidates at the board or executive level. This is like saying you want to do better in school, but not setting goals and never opening your report card. Companies need this data to track their progress. And let me be clear, this isn't about fulfilling quotas, it's about being able to hold yourself accountable. One of the reasons we need more Latinos in our boardrooms is that they can help shape corporate behavior for the better. There are many metrics for tracking diversity beyond hiring. Consider procurement. Procuring goods and services from minority owned firms is one of the most impactful ways that corporations can spread these gains more equitably throughout our society. Think about it. For a small minority owned enterprise, winning a contract with a Fortune 100 company is a game changer. It means more revenue and more relationships to parlay into future opportunities. Yet half of our Fortune 100 respondents admitted they don't even track the diversity of their suppliers. And of those who keep track, we found that just a tiny sliver of their multi-billion-dollar procurement budgets actually go to minority. Changing the face of corporate America will take more than wishful thinking. If we want to see more Latinos claim the mantle of CEO, more Black-owned firms win contracts with Fortune 100 companies, more women of color in our boardroom, we need proven strategies. Senior member of the Senate Banking Committee, I believe that one way we can promote a greater inclusivity is by letting investors know which companies are leading the way on diversity and which ones are falling behind. Right now, the Securities and Exchange Commission has a diversity rule that requires public companies to disclose how much they consider diversity when hiring for their boards. Unfortunately, the rule as written is weak and ineffectual. Way too much is left up to interpretation. Indeed, there's not even a clear definition of what diversity is. That's why earlier this year, I reintroduced the Improving Corporate Governance Through Diversity Act in the Senate, along with my colleague, Congressman Greg Meeks, in the House. This common sense bill would require public companies to disclose the racial, gender, ethnic makeup, and veteran status of their board membership and senior management to the SEC. I believe America's investors need to know and increasingly want to know which companies are not just talking the talk, but walking the walk when it comes to diversity. So, look, no single piece of legislation can solve an entire problem. But I do hope this bill will be a catalyst that helps create a more representative court system. So, let me close by saying sometime this century, the United States will become a majority minority country. But we cannot succeed if a majority of our population remains locked out of our country's greatest opportunities. I truly believe that companies that build pipelines of diverse talent today will write the biggest success stories of tomorrow. The Latino Corporate Directors Association can help us write those success stories. The fact that 30 graduates of your Board Ready Institute have already been appointed to corporate boards shows us that progress is possible. So I urge all of you to continue. You have the power to show corporate America that diversity is just as much about competitiveness as it is about social justice. You have the power to help diversify supply chains and new wealth in communities so often left behind. And you have the power to be mentors. Chances are that at some point in your career, there's been someone who helped you walk through a door of opportunity you once thought was closed to you. You can be that person. Us blessed to live the American dream must do our part to keep it alive for future generations, which will be more racially and ethnically diverse than ever before. So thank you for all the work you do, and congratulations on all of the progress you make.
Senator, thank you for those inspiring words. You're a champion, as I've said before, and we deeply admire the thought you put into governance and essentially holding some of the most powerful people in America accountable, as you said. I'm hoping we at LCDA can work with you and your staff and share statistics and come up with strategies that make sense for the community. Because, as you say, America needs Latinos to succeed. Uh, our numbers are just too important, and the country needs our efforts and our success to make America great in the next in this century, frankly. So we're short on time, unfortunately, and we know you have to go back to your duties. So on behalf of LCDA and behalf of really the business Latino community that we serve, thank you so much. Thank you so much, and please keep up the fight and feel free to come back to us and ask for our help in any way we can.
Well, thank you, Rod. We look forward to continuing to work with the association in partnership. If I was corporate America, looked at 60 million Latinos growing exponentially, having $1.5 trillion of domestic marketplace spending, younger by a decade than the rest of the American population, and spending more of its disposable income, I'd like to be on them like white on rice. So at the end of the day, this is about bottom line opportunities, and hopefully, the more we drive that message together, the more successful we'll be, and the more Latino and Latinas we'll see on corporate boards, senior executive management, and in the procurement chain. Thank you so much for what you all do.
Absolutely. Thank you, Senator. Thank you again from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you.